Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
I have a client that's an attorney, and I sat with her and I said, let me ask you a question. Why do you do what you do? Because she's, by the way, one of the best in the business at what she does. And she said, Mike, nobody's ever asked me that before. Do you know nobody's ever asked me what made me be, not even the people that she works for. Nobody's ever sat with her and asked her, why do you do this? Turns out, as she was growing up, she saw people that she loved dearly, get hurt and get hurt by employers, like literally abused by employers and that kind of thing. And she now sues big companies on behalf of the employees for safe working environments, non-hostile working environments, right? She literally, through everything she does every day, makes life better for people that are working for large corporations.
Wow.
And she sits in rooms
Wow.
with these old guys that are 3 times her age, and they look at her like she's there to fetch them coffee.
Wow.
Okay? And she's the one sitting across the table from them, negotiating on behalf of these workers. There's a passion there that comes from hurt. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You need to go back to your office, sit with each and every one of your new agents, actually all of your agents. And by the way, you should do this with your wife too. What drives you? Why is it that this is so important to you? Talk to me. What's happened in the past? What's happened that made you do this? You'll be shocked what you'll find.
My goodness, I could just see that conversation being so emotional.
And then what happens is it lifts, I'm not joking, it lifts them in a way that you can't stop them. They become unstoppable. They become somebody that there are no limits. This is right, because they get it off their chest. They verbalize the hurt that they're current, because I guarantee you, if they have any trepidation whatsoever about talking to strangers, there's fear there, there's a hurt there. Get it out of them. If you get it out of them, you'll turn them into superstars. This is not what we came here to talk about.
I know.
But I think this has been effective.
It's effective. It's effective.
And I'll be happy to meet with you and your people. So if you want me to go sit in your meetings with you, and I'll be happy to do that.
I rarely find people that I'm floored by when it comes to their ability to communicate and effectively find motivation, pull things out of people, level with them on any playing field, no matter what they are, because you're an intimidating guy. People look at you, right? You're big, you're tall, you have a very large demeanor about you, but your ability to connect is just so incredible. I mean, honestly, it's a whole another level of professionalism that I rarely see. There's only like 1 or 2 other people that I've ever seen that I've never met that I feel they can connect people on this deep of a level.
Well, it comes from desire, though. It comes from a passion to help people. I mean, literally, because I know for a fact what I'm telling you is absolutely correct. And I know for a fact that it's effective. I've seen it happen. I've literally seen it happen. And I can walk into any room with any person, period, cold off the street, and get to know them quickly, right? So I used to sit, my sister was the market center administrator for our office, which meant she was the person that when we would recruit agents, she would come in, and when the agent decided they wanted to join us, she would come in with the paperwork. And she would come in and she'd sit with them and she'd be frustrated. Like, she was mad at me for 14 years. She'd come sit with them and she'd go, so Mike talked to you about the split, right? No. Mike talked to you about profit share, right? No. Mike talked to you about the ALC, right? No. Mike talked to you about training? No. What'd you guys talk about? We talked about me. And nobody's ever done that before. And I know this is where I need to be. That's it. So exactly what I'm telling you is exactly what I used to do. Every single episode of our podcast is a recruiting appointment. It's a recruiting appointment. It's literally what I used to do when I would recruit agents, because I literally came there not to recruit them. I came there to get to know them, right? I just wanted to know their story. I just wanted to know what made them tick. I wanted to know what they feared. I wanted to know what hurt them in the past. I wanted to know what was holding them back, right? And we'd figure it out. Now, sometimes there were tears and sometimes there was Kleenex involved and, right? But we would get to whatever was holding them back and we'd figure it out and they would verbalize it and then they'd just go, wow, that felt so much bigger before I said it. Now that I've said it, I feel better. I'm relieved.
One thing you mentioned earlier is that people go to their motivation. Well, what's it that hurt and where did it come from? It's actually the reason I got started in real estate was because in 2005, my mother purchased our first home for us. She's first generation from Mexico. And I was 17, I think, at the time when we bought the house. And we always lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Bonita, right on Briarwood and Robinwood. And there was this apartment complex that's backed to the 54 freeway. Mm-hmm. And that's the one-bedroom apartment. And I still remember the unit number, it's 53. One-bedroom apartment, and we stayed there my entire life. Never had friends over because it was one bedroom. Didn't have enough money for gaming consoles, but I grew up in Bonita and Eastlake. So I see all these people with money. Mm-hmm. So she finally buys us a house in Eastlake Greens and Vistas. Mm-hmm. Buys us this big house, 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,000 square feet. Finally have my own bedroom, bathroom. It's short-lived, about a year and a half. Finally have a bunch of friends over. We're playing video games, we're barbecuing, like every party event, every Christmas, everything's at our place. We finally have our own place and our family's celebrating. Well, 2007, it all gets taken away. I remember sheriffs coming over and knocking on the doors. I remember posts out in the front yard and all that. But at this time, mentally, I'm already checked out. I'm already, I'm an adult. I'm going to Mexico every single weekend. I'm a club promoter. My emotion, honestly, a lot of my pain, because of all the pain, I was numb emotionally. So I didn't have any emotional receptors at that time, and I wasn't really receptive to anyone. I was very selfish. So I didn't know what was happening. I just saw these things taking place. I knew that we had to leave at that time. I just had so much anger because my father left and a bunch of things happened. And I remember we had to end up leaving the place. And then from there, my mom was like, hey, we're going to be moving back into our uncle's house. But I was already so selfish, didn't really care. I'm like, whatever, let's just go. I was just happy to have my own room. But my room was actually a 3rd-car garage. Mm-hmm. They put a carpet out for me. They put a couch there, one of those freestanding closets. I'd sleep on the couch and my clothes were hung on this closet. And I slept in the garage for a couple of years as we were rebuilding. And it wasn't until later, 2013, where I got into multi-level marketing, and a friend of mine said, hey, you're crushing in multi-level marketing, you're climbing the rank, you're speaking on stage, come be my assistant, I'll pay you $500 per file to be my TC, and you can do it during the day, and at night, you can go do your shake thing, sell your shakes. Sign me up, coach. I'm making about $4,000 a month with this multi-level marketing thing. If I can do 2 or 3 files, it's $5,000-$6,000 a month. Absolutely, I'm in. So I go with him and I show up to the office and I know nothing about contracts, nothing about legal paperwork, and they kind of just throw me into I'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching videos, I'm reading these contracts, and I developed this eye twitch that I still have to this day because of that position in 2013. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading these things and I'm calling and I'm meeting with clients and getting these things signed, and about 7 months go by and I'm doing really, really well. And I asked him, and I loved dressing up. I loved going to the office. And this is right when Wolf of Wall Street was starting to come out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing. I want to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm dressing up in suits, and I can barely afford them. And I'm going to Men's Warehouse for $100 suits. But I'm showing up to this office to do paperwork, and I loved it. It just made me feel very special and important. It was something I lacked when I was little. And I finally had relevance. But as I was going through this for these 6-7 months, I'm meeting with these families, go to their house with the agent, getting these things signed sometimes. And husband's right there, upset. Wife's right there, bawling. And that was 99% of our clients. They're always upset or crying. And every time I called, crying and bawling, upset. finally one day I had the courage to ask my friend, I'm like, hey, so what's going on, man? All of your clients are pissed off. Like, do you just suck at your job or what's going on? He's like, no, what happened was all of these people are losing their house. And it's because of predatory lending that took place back in 2004, 5, 6. He explained the whole situation. We've done this whole thing. And I kid you not, Mike. So I'm sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour. He's explaining everything. And I zone out. Because as he's telling me these things, they sold his house. My mind goes back to 2005. I'm like, oh, crap. That's what happened to us.
Yeah. You had parked that somewhere in the deep recesses.
Yeah.
Right? There's a very popular book you should read called Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti.
It's cool.
Okay? Get
I
it.
love the title. Yeah, I get
Get
it.
the book. Men compartmentalize things like the squares into squares, like the squares of a waffle. Women bring emotion to everything. Their emotion is just tied up in everything they do, like a bowl of spaghetti. Okay? By the way, this is a shameless plug. The ghostwriter, I'm writing my first book starting next month on homeownership, and the ghostwriter is the author with his wife of that book.
No way.
Seriously, they married us.
That is cool.
They married us. They did our premarital counseling,
Yeah.
and she was the matron of honor in our wedding, and he was the pastor that he officiated our.
Pastor Marco and Pastor Natalie officiated our wedding.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I compartmentalized it. I did. And
You
finally
shoved it away.
Shoved it away. And right there in that moment, it all came back. And the only emotion that I had was anger.
Yeah.
I was so upset.
Yep.
I sat the night and I just dropped every F-bomb in my head. I looked at it, and it was like this. And it was also at this right time where I was going through this transformation emotionally, where I was telling God, I'm just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm out of high school. I'm still living at my grandmother's house. I have no money. There's too much month left at the end of the money. I'm broke, busted, and disgusted. Like, all this stuff. Like, I'm just tired. And I even went through this like depression state for a while. And so I was just really upset because I thought to myself, like, number one, and so anyway, the whole point of the transformation was that my emotions were coming back to me. I was starting to feel. I numbed everything out for a long time. My dad had just gotten out of jail at that time. He brought me to church with him. I remember like seeing God for the first time, experiencing the Holy Ghost. I prayed in tongue, never even heard of tongue before. So I went through this whole spiritual, and this is all 2013, it's all taking place at the same time. And so I'm starting to feel, and I remember hearing this thing, and I got upset. And I got upset because my mom didn't tell me what we were going through. She didn't even tell me what she was going through. And now as a parent, like looking back at it now, Mike, I can't even imagine the weight that she had to carry with 2 children, mother, getting a home, having the embarrassment, the shame of having it taken away, having to look at and having to carry that way for 3, 6, 9 months before we got evicted, and look at your kids every single day and protect their emotions to make sure they're okay, not have to feel anything. And then to have the shame and the guilt to say, hey kids, we have to go. And now as an adult with your 2 kids, find somewhere to live because financially you're not stable. And then having to put your son in a garage, share a bedroom with your 18-year-old daughter. For me, it haunted me for years, Mike. Like it crushed me to the point where I was so mad at life. I was so mad at everything. I was so mad at everyone. And I thought to myself, how could someone take advantage? And I was so mad because I was of age to do something. And I didn't. But mom did what mom was supposed to do. Protects her cubs and says, I'm not gonna let you feel that. She carried the weight for us. She put that on her back. Still showed up to work, still loved us. We had no idea what was happening. So this is all happening 2013. I'm mad and upset. I'm going through all this stuff. So I tell myself, I'm gonna get my license, and I'm gonna make sure that I advocate for those who don't have a voice. There'll never be another mother who has to look at another son or a daughter and say, we have to leave. There'll never be another son that has to go through what I went through at that time. There'll never be another daughter that have to hire me. So I immediately got my license. December 31st of 2013 was the day I passed my exam. I still have the photo. So my 10-year anniversary is coming up in a few weeks. And I remember going out there, my message was, first-time buyers, low credit, low income, I'm your guy, come talk to me. And I just started getting all these families that were in that situation. But in the back of my head, I knew that I had to pay mom back. There was just, God spoke to me and he put it in my heart. You need to take care of mom, take care of mom. And I went to church one day, and it was at Bonita Valley Community Church, and Pastor Jeffrey Braun said something. He said, what I want all of you to do, and this is not specific to my situation, but he said, I want you to play the movie in advance. Wherever you're at in life, play the movie in advance. Keep on going down that path. Where do you end up? Are you happy? And then I took Bold years later, and then Bold was a similar thing. Close your eyes, imagine walking down a path. You meet yourself in 80 years, and you look back, and you're happy with everything that happened. And I remember doing that exercise, and I remember telling myself, if I continue down this path of being a little asshole, excuse my language, and I don't care, have respect or love for anyone, and mom gets older, and all she did was sacrifice her life for us, and then I never repaid her, or she never has the opportunity to remarry, or to live in the beautiful home in Bonita, or to live there, or to travel, or do anything, what would I do and how would I feel? And I remember playing the movie in advance, and I remember in my movie, I laid my mom to rest, and I thought to myself, she never got a chance to do this. She never got a chance to date. She gave up her 20s and 30s to raise 2 kids who were ungrateful. She gave up her 20s and 30s, never dated, never loved again, never felt the warmth of a man's love, because she raised it for us, only to die young, unhappy, maybe, and never see her children successful. Because I had so much love and respect for her, I said, I'm going to sacrifice everything that I have to make sure that that woman gets loved again, that she gets to experience matrimony, that she gets to experience travel, luxuries of life, which are freedom and options. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to pay this woman back. And that, Mike, the next few years after that, I worked my face off. I went all in business and real estate. And the first few years were really, really hard to do it, but I had that pain of knowing that I can't let her down. I had the pain of what happened in the past driving me every single day. I was so obsessed with this focus, with this laser focus. Nothing else mattered. It was, I need to get better at communication. I went to Toastmasters every single Saturday for 6 years until I became the president, the youngest president of that, one of the oldest chapters across the country. I built myself up. I learned how to dress. I learned how to read. I learned how to do all these things that in high school I didn't do because I never paid attention. I didn't have a man to teach me. I was always the guy with tattoos and all that kind of stuff, and every other word, icon. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. Mannerisms, politics, being polite, everything that business etiquette requires, and nothing was ever taught to me. I had to learn everything from the ground up. Paid tens of thousands of dollars in coaching, so that finally one day I can get to a position where people would trust me to help them buy and sell. And I did, and it took me a long time. And Mike, in the very beginning, I got my car repossessed. I had all my credit cards were overdrawn. I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't know how to do anything, but I kept going. I figured it out. I hired people. I got mentors and coaches, and finally got to my place where we ended up buying, my wife and I ended up buying a home in 2020. And then a year later, my wife and I prayed about it, and I being called to sign this house over to my mom, because this is the house that she's always talked about since I was younger, which was she wanted a single stories home in Bonita with a pool and a big backyard. I'm like, we're here now, but we're good, babe. Like, you and me, we're healthy. God saved our marriage. Our kids are happy and healthy. I'm like, I personally don't need much. The only thing that fills my cup every day is knowing that everyone I love around me is happy and that they're healthy. And if they're good, God's given me the strength and the fortitude to go out there and make other things happen. I'm good. And are you good? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm being called to do this. So we prayed, she honored it. We signed the deed over to my mom. We paid off the solar. We did $50,000, $60,000 worth of the remodel. I paid off all of her debt. I just everything into that woman before I did anything. Before I even went and bought an investment property, I'm like, I'm just gonna dump everything into her. And she lit up like a Christmas tree. And she's happy. She went and got her license. She's debt free. She's traveling. She went to Europe. She did all these things. I'm like, I see my mom spreading her wings, and I see how proud she is of me now. A son who went to juvenile hall multiple times. I have multiple DUIs. I have assault and battery on my adult record. A lot of things that I did that I'm not proud of. She had to see me through all that, got herself into debt for me, and I was able, while she's alive and healthy, to go back and pay her back and give her enough health and sanity to see this is my son became. And now that she's in real estate, I told her, I absolutely can't have you on my team. You need to go somewhere else, I said. But the brokers that she went to, the place that she went to, she's like, son, every time I go there, like, they're always talking about you. They know who you are, the brand that you created, the things that you've done in the industry in a short amount of time. And she didn't have to say it, but I could see it in her eyes. Like she was just proud. And that was like my confirmation. And this happened just recently. That was my confirmation to say, good, I made her happy. I repaid everything I needed to do. Now I'm in this new part of my life, literally today, this whole week, months, last couple of times, where I'm recreating my motivation because I satisfied that now. And I need to figure out what's the new thing because I closed that chapter happily and healthily. My mom gets to see her son a saved Christian. I'm volunteering at church, I'm tithing. I have a happy, healthy marriage. I have 2 wonderful children. I helped her out. So now that chapter's closed, Mike, I'm in a season right now where I'm trying to figure out what's the new motivation, what's the new pain, what's the new whatever I need to get to. Literally in the process to try to figure that out. And it's one of the most refreshing, beautiful things. But I say all that because at the beginning you mentioned you have to identify what that pain is. And that pain is what's going to drive you forward. And that pain, coupled with mentorship, coupled with focus, and absolute hunger and desire to win, is what got me to where I'm at today. And the brand that I have and being invited to speak in places like this, meet people like you. Had I not done all that, I don't think you and I would have crossed paths if I didn't have the social media presence or the success or anything that I've done or the relationships. I wouldn't have done it. But I'm here today. It's just amazing, man. It's just such a beautiful feeling. So I'm sorry about the timing and everything.
No, you're fine.
But
this is exactly why we do this.
Yeah.
We literally do this to do this.
Yeah, it was just cool, man. So it's just we'll definitely have to do it again with more time to go deeper into it. But man,
this won't be the last time.
No, not at all. We can go back and forth on a bunch of topics, I bet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentorship and all of it.
So we're here now, right? And you're with EXP, right? And you have a team. You have a beautiful family. You have a son that's now a champion, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what's next? Where are we headed?
Professionally, I'm in a position where my business, I'm happy where it's at.
Okay.
And it took me a while to define what success looked like to me. And I define it as happiness and peace. Wherever I'm at peace and happiness, and if there's issue, and it doesn't mean comfortability, so that's not what I meant. I can be uncomfortable and yet still be at peace, and I'm okay with that. So professionally, I'm okay with where my business is. I'm happy with where I'm at peace, and I know I identified what it is for 2024 I need to do. But really, one of my passions is teaching other agents who are younger in the industry how to become professional, how to speak the language, how to look the look, how to brand yourself, how to save yourself from putting your foot in your mouth, not knowing how to handle a request for repair because you lack the skill of negotiations and connecting with people and finding out what's really important to them, ruining a relationship with the listing agent because you think that negotiations is yelling back and forth and trying to get your way. I want to help agents develop into a better version of themselves. And I had to find a vehicle, which was EXP, because I can either charge you a hefty fee for my time, because in order for me to coach you, I'm taking an hour away from my son, my wife, or something else, or ministry. So financially it has to make sense. But EXP, the model, allowed me to do it at scale. So professionally, that's what I see for myself. I want to build a group of agents where I can be a coach, one of the coaches, to mentor and teach these people. My business is taken care of. I also want to build a brand, like I've been doing, on the personal development side, where I am being asked to coach, speak, travel. I spent all of 2022 traveling the entire country, Mike, and it was so much fun. I was asked to speak at in front of 800 people in Miami, another 400 people in Texas, 300 people in Denver, Las Vegas, and all these mega stages. It was so great. But the one thing I never did was I never had a call to action. It was always teaching in that moment, and then once that started, finished, but no one ever grabbed my hand and said, hey, this is how you create a business or an opportunity out of that, or stay in contact with all these people. I never asked for emails, I didn't ask for any of that stuff. It was just there on my own time because I wanted to help. But I want to do that again and build something from it. And with ministry, that's my number one focus, is how I can contribute at church, how I can be. God got over my life, man, and he made a really good husband out of me, son out of me, and professional out of me. And I owe that all to God. He saved my marriage. So I want to build the kingdom first. And of course, everything that I'm saying is if it's his will. Do what I need to do professionally, be an example. I guess at the end of the day, Mike, to simplify it, my goal is to really inspire and motivate people through my story and just show them that it doesn't matter where you came from, if you're a bad son, if you're a horrible husband, if you cheated on your wife or cheated on your spouse, like, you can change and become better. And I want to show that through the way that I live. I want to show that the way that I treat my wife. I want to show it through the way I love my children. I want people to meet my kids and be like, dang, like, those two kids are sharp, they're honorable, they're excellent, they're polite, they're intelligent, they're everything.
They're articulate.
They're articulate, and they look back and say that the only reason is because the parents must be amazing. And I want people to see, like, wow. So that's the goal. And I don't know how to clearly define it, I guess, but it's something like I was telling you.
I think you're clearly defining it.
That's kind of what I was telling you. I'm going through that whole process right now, trying to figure it out. And I'm going through a Gabe 2.0 version right now, where I'm redefining everything, my goals, my values, what I want for 2024. But I do know that ministry needs to come first, my wife needs to come second, my business needs to come third, and figure out what that looks like physically, financially, which I'm going to have an answer in the next couple of weeks, like very clear vision of what I want it to be, and then bam, go hit the ground running. Because I'm not a spring chicken anymore, man. I'm going to be 37 pretty soon. And I want to make sure I'm taking advantage of these years that I have and the influence that I have right now while it's here. So that's where that's at, Mike. And I'll have a to be continued for you.
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
No, man, it's been such a pleasure and an honor. Like, it really is.
Thanks for being here, man.
Dude.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.